You won't believe your eyes when you see this. Lights flashing, cameras rolling, and the air so thick with tension you could cut it with a knife. There he is, Kirk Frost, the untouchable king of the Frost Empire, leaning across the dimly lit table, his designer suit wrinkled, his famous calm finally shattered. And right in front of him sits Jasmine, eyes red, mascara running like war paint, fists clenched so tight her knuckles are white. The whole room is holding its breath. Producers are frozen behind the cameras. Even the crew forgot they were filming. Because in that single heartbeat, Kirk Frost looks Jasmine dead in the eyes and says the words that just broke the entire internet. I promise you. But he doesn't finish. Not yet. The camera zooms in so close you can see the vein throbbing in his forehead. Jasmine's lip trembles. She whispers, voice cracking, say it. Say it so the whole world hears what kind of man you really are. Fans are already losing their minds. Twitter is exploding. TikTok is flooded with slowed down replays and reaction videos. #KirkPrimazedwat is trending worldwide with over 3 million posts in the first hour. People are pausing, rewinding, screaming at their screens. What did he promise her? Is it $1 million payoff to keep her quiet? Is it the deed to the family mansion? Is it something darker, something that could destroy his marriage, his empire, and every relationship he's spent years building? This isn't just another reality TV argument. This is the scene that changes everything. Emotions ran so high the producers almost stopped filming. Family members watching from the wings were visibly shaking. One insider whispered off camera, if he says what I think he's about to say, the Frost family will never be the same. And right when Kirk opens his mouth to drop the final bomb, the screen cuts to black. That's where we are right now, fam. The most talked about moment in reality TV history is frozen on that unfinished promise. Kirk Frost promised Jasmine what? Stick around. Because once you hear the full story, you'll never look at either of them the same way again. The lights in the studio dimmed even lower after the frozen moment, and when the footage finally rolled again, Jasmine's voice cut through the silence like a blade. You think you can just say that and walk away, Kirk? After everything. Her words weren't loud at first, but they carried the raw pain that makes every viewer lean closer to their screen. Kirk sat back in his chair, rubbing his temples like a man who'd just aged 10 years in 10 seconds. The promise hung in the air unfinished, but everyone watching knew it was coming, and the anticipation was killing them. Cut to the confessionals. Jasmine wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, mascara smearing worse. I never wanted it to come to this. I came here thinking we could fix things, talk like adults. But Kirk, he's been playing games for years. And tonight he finally admitted what he's been hiding. She pauses, looks straight into the camera. He promised me the one thing I never thought he'd give up. And now the whole world is about to find out why the promise could destroy everything. Back in the main room, Kirk finally speaks. His voice is low, almost a growl. Jasmine, you know I don't make promises I can't keep. But this ain't just about us anymore. This is about my kids, my wife, my whole damn legacy. He leans forward again, elbows on the table. I promised you I'd walk away from it all. The shows, the businesses, the spotlight. I promised you I'd disappear with you if that's what it took to make this right. Gasps ripple through the crew. One producer drops a clipboard. Jasmine's mouth falls open. You're lying, she whispers. You said that to shut me up. You don't mean it. Kirk shakes his head slowly. I meant every word. But you gotta understand what it costs me. Rashida would never forgive me. The boys, they'd lose their father in the public eye. Everything we built together would crumble. The camera pans to the side door where Rashida is standing just out of frame, arms crossed, face unreadable. She doesn't storm in yet, but you can feel her presence like a storm cloud ready to burst. Fans watching live are already typing furiously. Is Kirk really about to leave Rashida for Jasmine? This can't be real. He promised to disappear. What does that even mean? Jasmine stands up, chair scraping loud against the floor. So that's it. You dropped the bomb and expect me to just believe you. After you lied to my face for months. After you told me our baby didn't matter. She points at her stomach, even though she's not showing yet. The room goes dead silent. Kirk's eyes widen. Our what? He says, voice cracking for the first time ever on camera. That's when the first real explosion happens. Jasmine laughs, but it's bitter, broken. Yeah, Kirk. Our baby. The one you said you'd never acknowledge. The one you told me to get rid of because it would ruin your perfect little family image. She turns to the camera. He promised me tonight that if I kept quiet, he'd leave everything behind and we'd raise this child together. Away from Atlanta, away from the cameras, away from Rashida. He said he'd sell the businesses, cash out, and we'd start over somewhere nobody knows our names. Kirk slams his fist on the table so hard the glasses rattle. That's not how it went down and you know it. I said I'd protect you and the baby. I never said I'd abandon my other kids. Emotions are running so high now the producers are whispering in headsets, debating whether to cut to commercial. But they don't. They keep rolling because this is gold. This is the kind of drama that breaks ratings records. Rashida finally steps into the light. Her heels click like gunshots. So this is what y'all been doing behind my back. Her voice is calm, too calm. The kind of calm that scares everybody. Kirk turns, face pale. Baby, listen, Rashida holds up her hand. No, you don't get to talk yet. Jasmine, you really think my husband is gonna throw away 15 years, 4 kids, and a multi-million-dollar empire for you? You think he's the kind of man? Jasmine squares her shoulders. He already promised it. On camera. In front of witnesses. He can't take it back now. Rashida looks at Kirk, eyes narrowing. Is that true? Did you promise her you'd leave us? Kirk opens his mouth, closes it. For once, the smooth-talking king has no quick comeback. The silence stretches so long it hurts. Then Rashida does something nobody expects. She laughs. Not a happy laugh. A cold, sharp one. You know what, Kirk? Go ahead. Keep your promise. Walk out the door with her. Take your little side family and disappear. But don't think for 1 second you're taking a dime of what we built together. I'll make sure the lawyers drag this out for years. You'll be broke before you ever see a beach with her. Kirk stands up fast. Rashida, you don't mean that. She steps closer. Try me. Jasmine watches them, eyes darting back and forth, suddenly looking smaller than she ever has. Maybe she didn't expect this. Maybe she thought Rashida would cry or scream or leave. But Rashida is fighting like a queen protecting her kingdom. The argument escalates. Voices overlap. Kirk yelling that he's tired of living a double life. Jasmine crying that she's tired of being the secret. Rashida reminding everyone that loyalty isn't optional in their family. Producers finally step in, separating them into different rooms, but the cameras follow. Confessionals keep rolling. Kirk in one room, pacing. I never wanted to hurt anybody. But Jasmine. She's carrying my child. I can't just pretend that doesn't exist. Rashida in another, sitting stone-faced. He thinks he can have it all. He's about to learn he can't. Jasmine alone in a third room, hugging her knees. I didn't come here to break up a family. I came here because he said he loved me. He said the promise was real. Now I don't know what to believe. Social media is on fire. Clips are being uploaded every second. Reaction channels are going live. Kirk Frost just promised to leave Rashida for Jasmine and their unborn baby. Rashida said she'll bankrupt him if he tries. This is messier than any Love and Hip Hop episode ever. Fans are divided. Some team Jasmine, saying she deserves happiness. Others ride hard for Rashida, calling Jasmine a homewrecker. Hashtags multiply. Hash protect Rashida, hash Kirk promised everything, hash Frost family fallout. Back in the main room, they bring them together again for one last confrontation before the episode ends. Kirk looks exhausted. I'm not walking away tonight. But I'm not walking away from my responsibility either. Jasmine, I promised to take care of you and the baby. Rashida, I promised you forever. I'm trying to figure out how to keep both. Rashida scoffs. You can't. Pick one. Jasmine wipes her tears. He already picked. He picked us. On national television. The screen starts to fade as the producer yells, cut, but one camera stays rolling secretly. Kirk whispers to Jasmine, too low for most mics to catch, but the lip readers on Twitter figure it out fast. I'm not backing out. I swear. Jasmine nods, but her eyes look scared. Like she just realized the promise might be a curse instead of a dream. And that's only the beginning. Because what Kirk doesn't know yet, what nobody knows yet, is that Jasmine has one more secret. One that makes this promise even more dangerous. One that could flip this whole story upside down when it drops next week. The family is divided. Fans are obsessed. And the promise Kirk Frost made to Jasmine tonight, it's about to cost him everything he ever loved. The tension didn't end when the cameras cut that night. It only got worse. Producers rushed everyone to separate green rooms, But the whispers started leaking out almost immediately. Assistants texting friends, security guards spilling to their group chats. Even one of the lighting guys posted a blurry selfie from the hallway with the caption, "This episode gonna break the internet." By morning, bootleg clips were everywhere. Fans dissecting every frame, every lip movement, every tear. Kirk Frost trending higher than ever, but not in the way he wanted. Not as the boss, not as the mogul. As the man who might have just thrown it all away on a promise nobody saw coming. In the days that followed, the Frost family compound turned into a war zone. Rashida refused to sleep in the same bed as Kirk. She moved into the guest wing with the youngest two boys, doors locked, phones on Do Not Disturb except for her lawyer on speed dial. Kirk tried knocking once, flowers in hand, voice soft through the wood. "Baby, we can talk this out. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Rashida didn't even answer. She just turned up the music, some old Destiny's Child track about survival, and let him stand there until he walked away defeated. The older kids caught wind fast. One son posted a cryptic story, black screen, white text, family first or nah. It got 500,000 views before he deleted it. Jasmine, meanwhile, went radio silent for 48 hours. No posts, no stories, no lives. Then she dropped a single photo, her hand on her still flat stomach, a tiny ultrasound picture blurred in the background. Caption, "Protecting what matters most." The comments section erupted. Supporters flooding in with hearts and prayers, haters calling her every name in the book. Homewrecker, gold digger, attention seeker. But Jasmine didn't clap back. She just liked a few positive comments and logged off again. Insiders said she was staying at a friend's condo downtown, windows covered, security doubled. She was scared, they said. Scared of what Rashida might do. Scared of what Kirk might not do. Then came the first major twist nobody expected. A leaked audio surfaced on a gossip blog, grainy, clearly recorded from a phone hidden in someone's pocket during the final confrontation. In it, you hear Kirk's voice, hushed but clear. "Jasmine, listen to me. The promise wasn't just words. I already started moving money. Offshore account. Enough for us and the baby to live comfortable for life. But you gotta give me time." Rashida's got eyes everywhere. Jasmine's reply is shaky. "You swear?" "Because if you're playing me," Kirk cuts her off. "I swear on my mama. But if this gets out before I'm ready, it's over for all of us." That audio hit like a bomb. Fans replayed it obsessively. Slowed it down. Enhanced it. Argued over every syllable. Was the offshore account real? Was Kirk really about to vanish with millions? Or was he just saying what he needed to say to keep Jasmine calm? Rashida's team wasted no time. Kirk dropped a statement within hours. Frost remains focused on her children and her businesses. Any rumors of financial misconduct will be addressed through proper legal channels. Translation: lawyers were already digging. Kirk went live on Instagram the next evening. No makeup, no chain, just a plain black tee, sitting in what looked like a hotel room. "Y'all, I know it's messy right now. I know I messed up. But hear me when I say this. I love my wife. I love my kids. And yeah, I care about Jasmine and what she's going through. But I ain't leaving my family. That promise. It came from a place of panic. I was trying to fix something I broke. But I see now it only made it worse." He paused, rubbed his face. "I'm sorry, Rashida. I'm sorry to my boys. And Jasmine. I'm sorry I put you in this position. But I gotta stand up and be the man I'm supposed to be." The live chat went nuclear. Some fans cheered, King finally speaking facts. Others typed, "Too late bro," and "Damage control 101." Jasmine watched it from her hideout. Friends said she cried the whole time. Not angry tears. Hurt ones. The kind that come when you realize the promise you clung to was just smoke. But the drama wasn't done twisting. 2 days later, paparazzi caught Rashida at a high-end spa with her best friend and business partner. They looked relaxed, laughing, sipping green juice. Until the photog yelled, "Rashida, you filing for divorce yet?" She stopped, turned slow, sunglasses low on her nose. "Sweetie, when I file, you'll know. Trust." Then she smiled that razor-sharp smile and kept walking. The clip went viral instantly. Fans read it as a threat. Kirk's team scrambled to spin it as, "She's just protecting her peace." Nobody bought it. Inside the family, things cracked further. Rashida sat the older kids down for a real talk. No cameras, no producers. Just Mama Bear laying it out. Your daddy made some choices. Bad ones. But y'all are my priority. Always will be. If he walks, we'll be okay. Better than okay. One of the sons reportedly broke down, asking why Kirk would do this. Rashida held him tight. Sometimes grown men forget who they are. But we don't forget who we are. That story leaked too, because nothing stays private in this circle anymore. Jasmine finally spoke out. Not on egg. Not on alive. She did a sit-down interview with a small but respected YouTube channel known for no-holds-barred tea. She wore a simple white dress, hair pulled back, no jewelry except a thin chain with a tiny baby footprint pendant. I didn't plan this, she started, voice steady. I fell in love with a man who told me he was unhappy. Who told me he was leaving. Who promised me a future. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. Now I'm pregnant, and I'm alone in this. But I won't beg. I won't chase. If Kirk wants to be in his child's life, the door is open. If not, we'll be fine without him. The interview clocked 10 million views in 24 hours. Clips everywhere. Her saying, "He promised me a future," became a soundbite remixed into every trending song. Fans started picking sides harder. #JASMINE shirts popped up on Etsy overnight. #StanWithRashida rallies formed in comment sections. It wasn't just drama anymore. It was a cultural moment. People projecting their own relationship traumas onto it. This why you don't trust promises from married men. This why wives gotta stay strapped and ready. Kirk tried to see Jasmine in person. He showed up at the condo unannounced, security letting him through because they still answered to him. She opened the door, chain on. "What do you want, Kirk?" He looked wrecked. Bags under his eyes, beard unkempt. "I want to talk. Really talk. No cameras." She hesitated, then let him in. They sat on opposite ends of the couch. He tried to reach for her hand. She pulled back. "You went live and said the promise was panic. Was it all a lie?" Kirk shook his head. "Not a lie. Just complicated. I meant it when I said it. But I can't destroy my kids' lives." Jasmine's eyes filled. "So what about our kid's life? Does that not count?" Kirk had no answer that didn't sound hollow. They talked for hours. Cried. Yelled. Remembered the good times before it all went public. By the end, Jasmine said the words that shocked even her. "I release you from the promise. I don't want a man who has to be begged to choose right. If you want this baby, be a father. That's it. No disappearing act. No offshore accounts. Just show up." Kirk stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "You serious?" She nodded. "Dead serious. I deserve better than half a man." He left quietly. No dramatic exit. No kiss. Just a man walking out knowing he'd lost something he could never get back. The next morning, Rashida posted a family photo. Her and the 4 boys at breakfast, smiling, pancakes stacked high. Caption, "Us against the world." Always. No mention of Kirk. He wasn't in the picture. Fans noticed immediately. Theories exploded. Divorce incoming. He's already gone. Rashida just served him walking papers with breakfast. But the biggest twist was still coming. Jasmine's doctor appointment got leaked. Some nurse with a phone and no ethics. The ultrasound showed not 1 heartbeat. 2. Twins. She was carrying Kirk Frost's twins. And when that news hit, the entire narrative flipped again. Fans gasped. Twins. This changes everything. Kirk can't walk away now. Rashida about to lose her mind. Kirk found out through a text from Jasmine. Simple. No drama. Just a photo of the scan and the words, 2 heartbeats. Your move. He stared at his phone for a full minute before he called Rashida. She picked up on the 3rd ring. What now, Kirk? He swallowed hard. We need to talk. All 3 of us. Because this just got bigger than any of us. And somewhere in Atlanta, 3 people who used to share a life now faced the hardest conversation of all. One promise had started this fire. But the truth about those twins, it was about to burn everything down, or maybe, just maybe, force them to finally rebuild from the ashes. The family remained divided. Fans stayed glued to every update. And Kirk Frost's unfinished promise to Jasmine. It wasn't over. It was evolving into something nobody could predict. Something that would test loyalty, love, forgiveness, and power in ways reality had never seen before. The fallout from those twins' news hit like a Category 5 hurricane ripping through Atlanta. Kirk stared at the ultrasound photo on his phone for so long the screen timed out twice. 2 little blips. 2 lives. His blood. He texted Rashida first because he knew if he didn't she'd hear it from somewhere else and that would be worse. We need to sit down. All of us. This changes things. Her reply came back in under 30 seconds. My lawyer's number is the only one you need right now. Cold. Final. No room for negotiation. But Kirk wasn't ready to fold. Not yet. He drove straight to Jasmine's condo that same night. No call ahead. No warning. Just showed up with takeout from her favorite soul food spot like old times, trying to remind her of something softer. She let him in this time, no chain on the door. She looked tired but calm, wearing an oversized hoodie that swallowed her frame. They sat at the kitchen island. Food untouched. Twins Kirk. I found out yesterday. Didn't even know how to tell you. He reached across the counter. This time she didn't pull away. I'm not running, Jasmine. Not from this. Not from them. She searched his face like she was looking for the lie. You said that before. On camera. Off camera. In my bed. Words don't pay for diapers. He nodded slow. I know. That's why I'm here. I want to be in the room when they're born. Doctor visits. Names. Everything. But I gotta fix things with Rashida first. She deserves to hear it from me, not the blogs. Jasmine laughed soft, but it had no joy in it. You think she's gonna sit down and play nice? She's building her empire while you're over here promising futures you can't deliver. Kirk rubbed his neck. I'm selling the secondary businesses. The ones that aren't tied to our joint accounts. Cashing out enough to set you and the babies up comfortable. House. Trust funds. Whatever you need. But I'm staying in Atlanta. I'm not disappearing. My boys need me here too. Jasmine's eyes narrowed. So I get the consolation prize while Rashida keeps the king. He shook his head hard. No. You get what I owe you. Respect. Support. Fatherhood. But I can't pretend the last 15 years didn't happen. I love her too. That conversation stretched into the early hours. They didn't touch. Didn't kiss. Just talk draw. Jasmine told him about the morning sickness that wouldn't quit. The way she cried alone in the shower thinking she'd be raising twins solo. Kirk listened. Really listened. No interruptions. No excuses. When the sun came up he left with a promise that felt heavier this time. I'm telling Rashida today. Face to face. No cameras. No lawyers in the room yet. Just us. Jasmine watched him go from the window. She didn't wave. She just touched her stomach and whispered, "We'll be okay, babies. No matter what." Rashida met him at their favorite breakfast spot, the one with the corner booth nobody bothered. She arrived first. Already seated. Coffee black. No cream, no sugar. When Kirk slid in across from her she didn't look up from her phone at first. You got 5 minutes before I walk. He took a breath. It's twins, Rashida. Jasmine's carrying twins. Her fingers froze on the screen. She set the phone down slow. Eyes finally meeting his. And, Kirk swallowed. And I'm not asking you to forgive me. Not today. But I'm asking you to let me be a father to all my kids. Not choose. Not disappear. Just do right. Rashida leaned back. Arms crossed. Do right would have been keeping it in your pants. Do right would have been not promising some woman you'd burn our life down. But here we are. Silence thick between them. Then she spoke softer. You know what hurts most? Not the cheating. Not even the baby. It's that you looked me in my face for years and lied like it was nothing. Kirk's voice cracked. I know. And I hate myself for it. Rashida stared out the window at the morning traffic. I'm not divorcing you yet. Not because I want you back. Because I don't want the boys to see us fall apart in public. But we're done sharing a bed. Done sharing dreams. You want to play daddy to twins. Fine. But every dollar you spend on them comes from your side accounts. Not ours. And if you ever disrespect me again, I'll take everything. That meeting didn't fix anything. But it stopped the bleeding for a minute. Kirk walked out knowing he had a narrow path forward. One where he supported Jasmine without losing Rashida completely. Fans caught wind of the breakfast spot sighting within hours. Paparazzi photos surfaced. Kirk looking drained. Rashida stone-faced. Captions screamed, "Divorce off the table." They're trying to save it for the kids. Speculation ran wild. Some said Rashida was playing chess, keeping him close so she could control the narrative. Others said she still loved him deep down. Nobody knew the truth except the two of them. Weeks turned into months. Jasmine's belly grew. She started showing in grainy pap shots, leaving prenatal appointments. Always alone. Always head down. But she glowed in the quiet way pregnant women do when they've made peace with their path. She posted one ultrasound video. 2 tiny profiles side by side. Caption, double trouble coming soon. No mention of Kirk. No shade at Rashida. Just love for what was growing inside her. The comments were a battlefield, but she turned them off. Smart move. Kirk kept his word. He showed up. First appointment, he sat in the waiting room, hat low, hoodie up. Nurses recognized him but stayed professional. When Jasmine came out, he stood. How they doing? She smiled small. Kicking like they already know who their daddy is. He walked her to the car. No hand-holding. Just presence. Rashida knew. She didn't fight it. She just focused on her own empire. New clothing line launch. Tour dates. Solo album dropping soon. She looked unbothered in public. Thriving even. But friends said late at night she'd stare at old family photos and cry silent tears. The big reunion happened at a neutral spot. A private room in a downtown restaurant. No producers. No leaks promised. Just Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine. Security outside. Phones off. Rashida arrived first. Power suit. Red lipstick. Jasmine next. Maternity dress flowing. Kirk last. Nervous sweat on his brow. They sat in a triangle. Nobody spoke for a full minute. Then Rashida broke the ice. I'm not here to be friends. I'm here because those babies didn't ask for this mess. So let's set ground rules. Jasmine nodded. I respect that. Rashida continued. Kirk supports them financially. He's in their lives. Birthdays. School. Whatever. But he doesn't bring them around our boys unless everybody agrees. No drama on socials. No interviews dragging names. We co-parent separate. Clean. Jasmine looked at her direct. I can do that. I never wanted to hurt you or your kids. Rashida's jaw tightened. You did though. But we moved forward. Not back. Kirk sat quiet mostly. Letting them talk. When it was his turn, he said, thank you. Both of you. I don't deserve this grace, but I'm grateful. Rashida stood first. Don't thank me yet. You slip up once. It's over. She left without another word. Jasmine stayed a minute longer. You okay? Kirk exhaled. Better than I deserve. She touched his arm light. Be the father they need. That's all I ask. Then she left too. The twins arrived early. Dramatic like their conception. Emergency C-section at 3 in the morning. Kirk was there. Scrubbed in. Holding Jasmine's hand while she pushed through fear. 2 boys. Healthy. Loud. Identical except one had a tiny birthmark on his cheek. Jasmine named them Kai and Carter. Kirk's middle name in the middle for both. He cried when he held them first. Real tears. Not for cameras. Jasmine watched from the bed, exhausted but smiling. They look like you. He whispered, they look like us. Rashida sent flowers. White roses. Card simple. Congratulations. Wishing them health and peace. No bitterness on paper. But the gesture said everything. Boundaries respected. No fake hugs. Just acknowledgement. Social media shifted slow. Fans who once picked sides started posting, maybe they're figuring it out. Grown folks handling grown business. Reaction videos praised the maturity. This is what co-parenting looks like when money and egos don't win. Kirk posted one photo. Him holding both babies swaddled. Caption, blessed X2. Grateful for second chances. No tag for Jasmine. No mention of Rashida. Just the truth in the frame. Months later, the Frost family looked different but still standing. Rashida headlining festivals. Solo success louder than ever. Kirk quieter in public. Focusing on fatherhood. Jasmine raising the twins in a cozy house on the outskirts. Co-parenting schedule tight. No mess. No scandals. The promise Kirk made at night in the studio. It evolved. It didn't mean disappearing anymore. It meant showing up. Every day. In every complicated way. Fans still talked about that frozen moment. The unfinished sentence that started it all. But now when they rewatched the episode, they saw something else. Not just drama. Not just betrayal. They saw 3 people forced to grow up fast. Forced to choose peace over pride. And somehow, against all odds, they were making it work. Of course nothing's perfect. Whispers still float. Paparazzi still lurk. But the fire that almost burned everything down, it settled into embers. Warm enough to remind them what family can survive, if they want it bad enough. And somewhere in the quiet nights when the twins were finally asleep, Kirk would look at old footage of the promise, shake his head, and smile small. Because what he promised Jasmine wasn't a lie after all. It just looked different than either of them imagined. It looked like two little boys with his eyes. It looked like boundaries honored. It looked like forgiveness earned one hard day at a time. The family wasn't what it used to be. But maybe, just maybe, it was stronger for it. And that was the real twist nobody saw coming. The drama that once had the internet screaming now lived in softer conversations. They made it through. They chose the kids. Sometimes promises break so better ones conform. Fans moved on to new scandals. But every now and then someone would repost that original clip. The zoom on Kirk's face. The unfinished, "I promise you." And the comments would flood again. Not with hate this time. With something closer to respect. Because in the end Kirk Frost didn't disappear. He stayed. He fought. He lost pieces. But he kept the parts that mattered most. And Jasmine, she got the future she deserved. Not the fairy tale. The real one. Messy. Honest. Full of love that didn't need spotlights to shine. Rashida kept her crown. Never bowed. Never broke. She turned pain into platinum records and power moves. And the boys, they grew up knowing their father wasn't perfect. But he was present. That was enough. So yeah, Kirk Frost promised Jasmine something wild that night. Something that shook the world. But what he delivered was bigger. He delivered growth. Accountability. And two little lives that would never know the storm that brought them here. Only the calm that came after. The years rolled forward, slow at first, then faster than anyone expected. The twins Kai and Carter turned one before the Frost name stopped trending every other week. Their first birthday party happened at Jasmine's house backyard, transformed into a soft blue and gold wonderland. No cameras invited, just close friends, family on both sides, and a bounce house bigger than the patio. Kirk showed up early, balloons in hand. Rashida arrived later with the four boys carrying a custom cake shaped like twin basketballs, because the little ones already loved dribbling anything round. The kids played together, cautious at first, then wild, laughing, chasing each other like they'd known each other forever. Rashida and Jasmine exchanged one long look across the yard, not warm, not cold, just understanding. No hugs. No fake smiles. Just a nod that said, "We're here, we're doing this, we're not enemies anymore." Kirk stood between them, watching his 6 sons run free, feeling the weight lift a little more each time one of them called his name. Social media had moved on by then. The original clip of that unfinished promise still got reposted every few months, usually with captions like, "Remember when love and hip-hop almost ended a whole dynasty?" But the fire had cooled into nostalgia. Fans who once screamed in comment sections now dropped heart emojis, and they grew up. Reaction channels made, "Where are they now?" videos praising the maturity, calling it one of the rare times reality didn't destroy everyone involved. Kirk's name popped up less in gossip blogs, more in fatherhood podcasts, where he talked quiet about balance, accountability, second chances. He never spilled tea, never threw shade. Just said, "I learned the hard way that promises aren't magic. They're work." Jasmine kept her world small on purpose. She started a little online boutique, maternity clothes, then baby essentials, soft organic fabrics, pastel colors, things she wished she'd had when she was pregnant. It blew up, slow then steady. Influencers reached out for collabs, she picked only the ones that felt real. She posted the twins growing up in snippets, first steps, first words, first haircuts, always protecting their faces with clever angles or emojis. Captions stayed positive, grateful for these two every single day. No mention of drama, no clapbacks. She dated quietly once or twice, nothing serious, just coffee dates that didn't turn into headlines. Friends said she was healing, finding herself outside of being the other woman or the baby mama. She laughed more, slept better, looked at her boys and felt whole. Rashida leveled up in ways that made the industry whisper her name with new respect. The solo album dropped diamond certified in under a year. Tours sold out stadiums, not just arenas. She headlined festivals, wearing custom pieces from her clothing line, every outfit a statement. Interviews shifted from personal mess to power moves. "I built this from pain, but I built it for my legacy, not revenge." She spoke about co-parenting like a boss. Boundaries aren't walls, they're respect. The boys thrived under her watch, straight as students, athletes, respectful, polite. They saw their father regularly scheduled visits, holidays, shared vacations even. No fighting in front of them. No using them as pawns. Rashida made sure of it. She remarried quietly 3 years after the dust settled to a music exec who treated her like royalty and her sons like his own. Kirk met him, shook his hand, no tension, just men understanding the assignment: protect the family. The twins grew into toddlers, then little boys full of energy, mischief, and Kirk's signature grin. They called Rashida Auntie Sheeta because that's what felt right. She spoiled them on birthdays, Christmas, never over the top, just thoughtful gifts, books, toys, experiences. She never treated them different from her own. One Christmas she flew the whole blended crew to a private island, no paparazzi, no leaks, just beach days, bonfires, stories around the fire. Photos never surfaced but word got around in tight circles. Rashida did that. Class act. Fans who caught the tea online started calling her Queen of Grace, turning old hate accounts into stan pages. Kirk found his rhythm too. He stepped back from the spotlight, produced behind the scenes, mentored young artists, gave back to the community, opening after-school programs in the old neighborhoods he came from. He and Jasmine co-parented seamless, by then shared Google Calendars, doctor notes, school events, all of it. They argued sometimes small stuff like screen time or sugar intake, but never in front of the kids, never public. When the twins asked questions about why mommy and daddy didn't live together, Kirk answered honest, age appropriate. Grown-ups make choices, sometimes they don't work out, but love doesn't stop, it just changes shape. They accepted it because kids do when the adults stay consistent. One summer the whole family, minus drama, converged at a big reunion barbecue. Rashida's idea, neutral ground, her sprawling new estate outside the city. Everyone came. The older boys, now teenagers, towering over everyone, grilled burgers, flipped them like pros. The twins ran around with water guns, soaking cousins, aunts, uncles. Rashida and Jasmine ended up side by side at the dessert table, slicing cake. Jasmine spoke first, soft, "Thank you for inviting us. Means a lot." Rashida looked at her straight. "Their family too. Blood doesn't lie." No more words needed. They clinked wine glasses, one red, one white, and watched the kids play. Kirk caught the moment from across the yard, smiled to himself, knowing this was the promise fulfilled, not the dramatic exit he once offered, but the quiet, steady building of something real. Time kept moving. The twins started kindergarten, matching backpacks, matching lunches, matching everything, because that's what twins do. Kirk volunteered in their class, read stories, helped with art projects. Teachers whispered, "He's really hands-on." Jasmine baked cookies for the two, never missing a field trip. Rashida sent care packages to school, snacks with little notes, "You got this, kings." The blended family photo that leaked from the barbecue became iconic, reposted with captions, "This is how you win after the fall." No one called it perfect. It wasn't. There were still awkward holidays, tense moments, old wounds that stung on bad days. But they handled it, talked it out, moved forward. A decade after that studio night, the Frost legacy looked nothing like it did before. Rashida retired from touring, built a media empire, producing shows uplifting Black women entrepreneurs. Kirk wrote a book, not a tell-all, a real one, about fatherhood, mistakes, redemption, lessons for his sons and anyone else listening. It hit bestseller lists, stayed there months. Jasmine expanded her brand into a full lifestyle company: books, podcasts, retreats for single moms. The twins grew into teenagers, smart, athletic, kind-hearted boys who knew their story because their parents never hid it. "We came from mess, but look at us now," they'd say, laughing. One evening years later, Kirk, Jasmine, and Rashida sat together at a college acceptance party for one of the older boys. Speeches done, cake cut, music low. The three of them found themselves on the patio, away from the crowd. Stars out. Crickets loud. Kirk raised his glass first, to the promise I almost broke and the family we rebuilt instead. Rashida clinked hers, to choosing peace over pride. Jasmine smiled soft, to the twins who made us all better people. They drank in silence, comfortable silence, the kind that comes after surviving storms together. Fans still watched from afar. Occasional updates still trended. But the obsession faded into something warmer: admiration. They didn't just survive, they thrived. Proof that messy beginnings can have beautiful endings. The original clip that started it all got fewer views each year, replaced by newer montages, family photos, growth moments. People quoted Kirk's book line, "A promise isn't what you say in the heat of the moment. It's what you do every day after." And so the story that once had the world screaming, "Kirk Frost promised Jasmine what?" ended not with explosions, not with ruin, but with quiet victories, shared laughter, children who loved with outside's boundaries, that held in love that bent but never broke. The family, once divided, stood whole in its own redefined way. Not picture perfect. Not scripted. Just real. Stronger for the scars. And that was the ending nobody saw coming but everyone needed. The blended family kept evolving in ways that surprised even the people living it. By the time the twins hit middle school, the older Frost boys were in college or starting careers of their own, one in music production, another in sports management, the girls pursuing law and fashion respectively. Family gatherings grew bigger, louder, more chaotic in the best way. Thanksgiving at Rashida's estate became tradition, everyone flying in, no excuses. The house smelled like collard greens, cornbread, mac and cheese, 3 kinds of dressing because nobody could agree on one recipe. The kids, now young adults, mixed with the twins who were hitting that awkward phase of voice cracks, growth spurts and endless questions about life. Kirk and Jasmine arrived together in the same sub, no big statement, just practical since they lived 20 minutes apart and coordinated drop-offs anyway. Rashida greeted them at the door, apron on, hair wrapped, arms open for hugs to the boys first, then a quick embrace for Jasmine, one that lingered a second longer than it used to. "Y'all hungry yet?" she asked, voice warm. "Starving," Jasmine answered, laughing as they stepped inside to chaos. Those dinners weren't perfect. Old memories sometimes floated up like smoke from a low fire. One year a cousin asked too loud, "So how'll really make this work?" The table went quiet for a beat. Rashida set her fork down, slow, looked around at every face. "We decided the kids deserved more than our egos. Simple as that." Kirk nodded, added soft, "And we all grew up a little late, but better late than never." Jasmine just smiled, sipped her tea. No elaboration needed. The moment past conversation shifted to football scores, college applications, who was bringing the best side dish next year. But that answer stuck with everyone. It became the unofficial family motto, whispered when tensions rose: "Kids deserve more." Outside the holidays, life kept its rhythm. The twins excelled in school, particularly math and basketball, inherited their father's competitive streak and their mother's quiet focus. Kirk coached their AO team weekends on dusty gyms, shouting plays, clapping loud when they hit shots. Jasmine sat in the bleachers, filming every game, posting highlights with captions like, "My heart on the court X2." Rashida showed up to big tournaments, brought the whole crew homemade snacks, banners with their names glittered in gold. Opponents whispered, "That's Rashida Frost." Kids asked for selfies mid-game. She obliged every time, gracious queen energy intact. After one championship win, the twins ran to her first, hugged her tight, sweaty jerseys and all. She laughed, held them close. "Y'all did that. Proud, don't ever forget it." Kirk watched from the sideline, eyes shiny, not jealous, just grateful. Jasmine's business boomed into something substantial. She opened physical stores in Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, black-owned, mom and pop vibes, but scaled smart. She hired single mothers, gave flexible hours, paid above average, started a scholarship fund for kids of teen parents. Media outlets called her the entrepreneur who turned scandal into purpose. She did interviews now, not about Kirk, not about drama, but about resilience, building from broken places. "I learned you don't wait for permission to thrive," she'd say, camera steady. "You just do it." Fans who once hated her now bought her products, wore her hoodies, quoted her in bios. Redemption arc complete, not because she needed forgiveness, but because she earned respect on her own terms. Rashida's empire expanded too. She launched a production company, greenlit shows about Black family dynamics, entrepreneurship, mental health, real stories, no fake tears, no manufactured beef. One series followed blended families, navigating holidays, co-parenting, wins and losses. Viewers tuned in by the millions, saw echoes of the Frost story, but broader, more universal. Rashida executive produced every episode, sat in editing bays until 3 a.m., making sure the narratives honored the truth. Critics called it groundbreaking, finally showing what healing looks like instead of endless drama. Awards followed, Emmys, Peabodys. She accepted them, humble, thanked her children, her team, the women who believed in her when the world didn't. Kirk stayed steady behind the scenes. He mentored at-risk youth, opened a recording studio in the hood, free sessions for kids with talent, no strings. He produced tracks for no artists, never chasing charts, just quality. His book got optioned for a limited series, not sensationalized but honest, raw. He consulted on the script, made sure the promised scene stayed true to life, no extra spice. When the show aired, people watched differently, not for mess but for lessons. Kirk did press quietly, "I don't want young men thinking this is the path. I want them seeing there's a way back." One spring, the twins turned 16, driver's licenses in hand, Kirk's old Range Rover gifted to them, shared because y'all gotta learn to compromise early. They drove to Rashida's for a family cookout, first time behind the wheel, nervous, excited. Rashida waited on the porch, arms crossed, smiling proud. Look at my babies, rolling up like grown men. They hugged her tight, she kissed their foreheads no matter how tall they got. Inside the house everyone toasted ginger ale for the kids, wine for the adults. Speeches flowed. One of the older brothers stood to the twins who turned our crazy family into something legendary. Laughter, tears, claps. Jasmine wiped her eyes discreet. Kirk raised his glass last, to the promise that started it all. The one I almost broke. Thank God I didn't get to keep it the way I first meant it. Later that night, after everyone left, the three originals sat on the back patio again, stars brighter than before. Fire pit crackling low. Rashida spoke first. I never thought we'd get here. Jasmine nodded. Me neither. Kirk looked between them. Y'all saved me from myself. Both of you. Silence comfortable again. Rashida reached over, squeezed Jasmine's hand quick. We all saved each other. No more words needed. They sat until the fire died, watching embers glow, knowing the storm that once threatened to destroy them had instead forged something unbreakable. Decades blurred after that. The twins graduated college. One became an engineer, the other a music supervisor, carrying both parents' legacies. Weddings happened, grandchildren arrived. Rashida as the glamorous grandma, spoiling them rotten. Jasmine the nurturing one, teaching them kindness. Kirk the fun grandpa with endless stories but always ending with, choose better than I did. Rashida and her husband traveled the world, still in love, still powerful. Family reunions grew, massive compound style, now multiple houses on the property, everyone under one sky. And through it all, that original moment, the unfinished promise in the studio, stayed alive in family lore. The twins heard the story as teenagers, wide-eyed. So Dad really said he'd disappear? Kirk laughed. Yeah, I was young, dumb and scared. They asked Jasmine, were you mad forever? She smiled. No, baby. Hurt, yes. But mad fades. Love lasts if you let it. Rashida told her version last. I was ready to burn it all down. But then I looked at y'all and decided building was better than breaking. The world eventually forgot the specifics. New scandals, new stars, new dramas took over. But in Atlanta, in the Frost Circle, the story lived on, not as gossip but as legend. Proof that sometimes the messiest beginning writes the strongest ending. Proof that promises don't have to be kept exactly as spoken to matter. They just have to evolve. Kirk, Jasmine, Rashida grew old together in the strangest, most beautiful way. Not as lovers, not as rivals, but as architects of a family that defied every rule. When Kirk passed first, peaceful in his sleep, surrounded by every child, every grandchild, Rashida and Jasmine sat together at the funeral, front row, no space between them. They held hands through the service, cried the same tears, laughed at the same memories. At the repast, Rashida raised her glass one last time, to the man who promised too much and delivered exactly what we needed. Jasmine echoed soft, to the promise that changed everything. And the family toasted again, voices overlapping, hearts full, knowing the story wasn't over. It lived in them, in the children, in the grandchildren, in every choice made kinder, stronger, wiser because of what came before. The internet had screamed, Kirk Frost promised Jasmine what? All those years ago. Now if anyone searched the old clips, they found comments like, this aged like fine wine, they turned pain into legacy, real family looks like this. And somewhere in the quiet, after all the noise, the promise finally rested. Not broken. Not abandoned. Just transformed into the one thing bigger than any vow. A family that chose each other every single day. No matter what. The legacy of that one unfinished promise stretched even further into the future as the decades piled on like layers of rich history nobody could have scripted better than real life delivered. The twins Kai and Carter, now in their 30s, built lives that echoed both parents without copying them exactly. Kai became a civil rights attorney, fighting cases in the South with the same quiet fire Jasmine carried through her hardest days, while Carter turned into a platinum-selling producer, working with the new generation of Atlanta artists, always crediting his father's early lessons in the booth. Pops taught me timing isn't just beats, it's life. They stayed close to each other, bought houses on the same street, raised their own kids, cousins who grew up more like siblings, running through backyards that once hosted those tense family cookouts, now filled with laughter, water slides, and old school cookouts where the playlist mixed Rashida's classics with whatever the grandkids streamed. Rashida lived long enough to see great-grandchildren bouncing on her knee in a mansion that had expanded twice to fit everyone during holidays. She never slowed down completely, launching a foundation for women in entertainment, funding scholarships, mentorships, even a retreat center in the Georgia mountains where single mothers could come reset, recharge, no cameras allowed. She wrote her own memoir toward the end, not a clapback book but a reflection titled, Crowned Through Fire, detailing the nights she cried alone, the mornings she chose to rise anyway, the moment she decided forgiveness wasn't weakness, it was power. The book became required reading in college courses on Black feminism, media studies, resilience. At signings, fans still approached her teary-eyed. "You saved my marriage. You showed me how to walk away and still win." She'd hug them, whisper, "You were always the queen, baby, don't forget it." Jasmine's journey mirrored the quiet strength in a different key. Her lifestyle brand evolved into a wellness empire, spas, retreats, online courses, all centered on healing after heartbreak, building identity beyond relationships. She spoke at conferences, universities, women's groups, always starting with the same line, "I didn't choose the scandal, but I chose what came after." Her daughters-in-law adored her, calling her Mama J, the one who taught them how to mother without losing themselves. She and Kirk remained friends, deep ones, the kind forged in fire and time. They'd sit on her porch some evenings, watching the grandkids play, talking about everything, nothing, remembering the night that changed it all. "You kept your promise," she'd say sometimes, half joking, half serious. He'd smile crooked. "Took me longer than I planned, but yeah, I did." Kirk aged gracefully, silver in his beard, still sharp, still charming, but softer around the edges. He spent his later years mentoring more than producing, traveling to schools, talking to young men about accountability, fatherhood, the cost of shortcuts. "I almost lost everything chasing easy outs," he'd tell packed auditoriums. "Don't do what I did, do better from the jump." His health held until it didn't. A quiet heart issue in his late 70s, doctors said rest, but he kept moving, visiting the twins' kids, coaching Little League from a folding chair, clapping louder than anyone. When the end came, peaceful, surrounded by family, Rashida, Jasmine, and all 6 children at his bedside, he looked around, whispered, "Y'all did good," then slipped away like he was just stepping out for a minute. The funeral was massive but intimate at the same time, held in a church he helped build back in the day. Overflow, crowd outside, screens streaming the service. Rashida spoke first, voice steady. "He wasn't perfect, but he became the man we all needed him to be." Jasmine followed, shorter, softer. "He gave me the hardest gift, 2 boys who remind me every day that love wins when it chooses to stay." The twins closed it out together, one after the other, no notes, just heart. "Dad promised Mama J something wild once. We know the story, we lived the ending. Thank you for choosing us every day after." The pallbearers, all grandsons, sons, nephews, carried him out to Rashida's old hit playing low, the one about rising no matter what. Afterward, the family gathered at the estate again, tradition unbroken. Tables groaned under food, laughter mixed with tears, stories flowed like wine. Someone pulled up the old clip, the studio moment, Kirk leaning in, Jasmine's eyes wide, the unfinished, "I promise you," playing on a big screen. Everyone watched silent, then someone chuckled, "Look how young we were." Another added, "Look how scared." Rashida raised her glass to the promise that almost broke us and the family it built instead. They toasted, voices, overlapping, names, overlapping, lives overlapping in the best way. Years kept turning. Great-grandchildren grew, asking questions about the famous fight, the one that started it all. Parents answered honest, no sugarcoating. "Your great-grandpa made a big mistake, but he fixed it the hard way, and we all got stronger because of it." The story became family lore, passed down like a treasured recipe, not hidden, not exaggerated, just told straight. Photos lined walls in every house, the barbecue, the birthdays, the college graduations, the weddings, the quiet porch moments. No one airbrushed the pain, they honored it, because without it none of this beauty would exist. Rashida passed next, surrounded by the same circle, peaceful, regal, even at the end. Her service, even bigger, stadium screens, because the world claimed her too. Jasmine spoke again, this time steadier. "She taught me grace isn't forgetting, it's choosing forward." The twins, now graying at the temples, carried her legacy forward, funding her foundation, keeping her retreats alive, naming scholarships after her. Jasmine followed a few years later, gentle in sleep, the twins holding her hands, whispering, "We got it from here, Mama." Her celebration of life was smaller, backyard style, like she wanted music, food, stories, laughter, the twins reading letters she'd written years earlier. "Tell my boys I'm proud, tell them love doesn't end, it just changes rooms." By the time the last original faded, the Frost name meant something different entirely, not drama, not scandal, but endurance, legacy, unity through fracture. The great-grandchildren Googled the old headlines, laughed at the hashtags. #KirkPromazedwat felt like ancient history compared to the lives they lived, full houses, full hearts, full tables. They hosted their own reunions, now bigger properties, more kids, more stories, but the same core keep showing up, choose the kids, build, don't break. And somewhere in the archives, that original frozen frame still existed, the zoom on Kirk's face, the words hanging, the tension thick. New generations stumbled on it, sometimes asked, "What happened next?" The answer always the same, long, patient, real. They chose each other in the end, not the easy way, the right way, and we're still here because of it. The promise Kirk Frost made to Jasmine that night in the studio, under hot lights and rolling cameras, never stayed in the shape he first gave it. It bent, it cracked, it reformed 1,000 times over decades until it became something unrecognizable yet perfect, something that looked like 6 sons, 2 wives who became sisters in survival, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, a family tree with roots deep enough to weather any storm. It looked like love that survived betrayal. It looked like forgiveness that outlasted anger. It looked like growth that turned poison into purpose. And in the quiet moments when the house settled and the kids slept, someone would still play the clip low volume just to remember. Not to relive the pain, but to honor the journey from "what the hell did he promise" to "look what we became." The family didn't just survive the promise. They became the promise fulfilled. Messy, beautiful, enduring, real. And that was the ending the world never expected, but the one it needed most of all. And just like that, the promise that once had the entire world holding its breath turned into the foundation of one of the most legendary blended families in reality history. From that explosive night in the studio where Kirk Frost leaned in and whispered those unfinished words to Jasmine, to the decades of quiet growth, forgiveness, boundaries, and unbreakable love that followed, this story became so much more than drama. It became proof that even the messiest beginnings can lead to the strongest endings when people choose to show up, do the work, and put family above ego. Fans still argue in the comments about who really won: Rashida with her empire and grace, Jasmine with her peace and purpose, or Kirk who finally became the father and man he promised to be. But the truth is, nobody lost. They all transformed pain into power, betrayal into bonds, and a single unfinished promise into a legacy that spans generations. So what do you think, fam? After everything we just unpacked, the tears, the twists, the twins, the family reunions, the quiet porch moments, the final toasts, was Kirk's promise the biggest mistake of his life or the best thing that ever happened to all of them? Drop your take in the comments right now. Team Rashida, Team Jasmine, Team they all grew together. Or do you think this whole thing proves reality can actually heal instead of destroy? If this deep dive had you glued to every word, smash that like button so the algorithm knows we need more stories like this. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're not done digging into the wildest moments that changed lives forever. Next week we're breaking down another frozen frame that shook the culture. You won't want to miss it. Tell me below, what would you have done if you were in Jasmine's seat that night? Or Rashida's? Or Kirk's? Spill your thoughts, no filter. I read every single comment, and the wildest ones might get shouted out in the next video. Thank you for riding this emotional roller coaster with me from start to finish. You're the reason these stories keep getting told. Until next time, stay messy, stay real, and remember, sometimes the promise isn't what you say in the heat of the moment. It's what you build every day after. Peace, love, and all the tea. See you in the comments.